as a content creator, there's nothing worse than creating some content only to find out that you've had a camera malfunction. And that's what I suffered the other day trying to record a video on this bike. I didn't realise the camera had frozen, but it was my helmet cam that had frozen, which means no audio, no video. All I had was my rearward facing camera, and that's obviously no good without any audio, so that was the end of that. 45 minutes work lost. I was pretty annoyed, so annoyed in fact I decided I'd had enough with the GoPro, and it was time to cancel my GoPro membership, sell the cameras and swap them out for something else. And I've gone for the DJI Osmo Action 4, and I chose this after watching the Missing Flyer. He did a review on this and compared it to the GoPro, so I don't want to double up on his content or repeat anything that he said. I just want to add just a few words of my experience if you're looking for vlogging cameras. I haven't done much editing with them yet, so I can't speak to the quality, but certainly in my testing it seems like it's better than the GoPro. I was using a Hero 10 Black, 2 of them, and I had the helmet camera in the media mod so that I could plug in my microphone, because there's nowhere to plug it in on the GoPro, so you've got to have it in this giant media mod case, which makes it very heavy. And here's another real annoyance with the GoPro, and that is that it has the mounting solution as these 2 folding legs, and when you put one of the cameras in the media mod, you fold the legs down through this plastic case, and that then means that you cannot slide the camera out of the case without undoing it from the mount. So when it comes to changing the battery, which you have to do fairly regularly, you've got to unscrew the camera from the mount, remove it from the media mod case so that you can access the battery and swap it over, and then reassemble everything. And I spent a tour last year at every stop swapping batteries around and missing some of the tour, to the point where when I went to Spain this year I didn't even bother taking any cameras because I just didn't want that hassle. And I feel like as a content creator I don't want any barriers to my work. I have very little time available to me to make these videos, and I just don't want to waste that time. It's not the first time the camera has frozen on me or done something stupid, or I've got to the end of a ride and found the audio hasn't worked for some bizarre reason. And I've been told that the Osmo from DJI was more reliable, had better low-light performance. I think that's possibly a subjective opinion, but does seem to be more capable generally. Something else I really liked about it is that it connects wirelessly to the DJI Mic 2. And I use a DJI Osmo handheld gimbal camera for my other channel, Constant Geekery. We use that quite a lot now. It's so good. And that also pairs with the DJI Mic 2. And they're great microphones. I've also been using the DJI Mic 1 in my video work, and that's been fantastic. So for me it just makes perfect sense to switch to DJI, particularly as I also fly drones. So I have a DJI drone as well, so I'm used to the brand. So I thought I would change it over, and there are just a few features I just want to mention that make this much better than the GoPro. And I'm just going to start with the mounting solution. See, it has these magnetic mounts. There are clips as well, so it's going to be secure, but it mainly just clips on with a magnet, and that means that you can leave the mounting clip attached and remove the camera, and that's just makes life so much simpler. Something else that I really like is that you can access the battery compartment without removing it from the mount. Just pull up the door and swap the battery. Dead straightforward. And that's what I want. I want a simple solution. But the batteries themselves seem to last longer. So I've been out today, I've already been recording for about an hour. This is my 3rd video I've recorded today. So for me to be able to go out, and I have got some spare batteries with me, I'm still on the original battery, and I suspect it will probably last to the end of this video. So I get 3 videos out on 1 battery. I mean, that's astonishingly good. So I'm very pleased with that. I don't have to change any of my mounts because it's using the standard GoPro attachment. so that's fine. I don't have to change my helmet mounting system, and I'm much preferring the smaller size of the camera compared to a GoPro in the medium mod. It's just much better, and you can feel the weight difference and the wind deflection difference as well from the smaller camera, so this is working for me. Now I bought 2 of them so I can have a rearward facing camera. Some motorcycle vloggers like to have a 360 camera mounted here on the handlebar. I do have one of those, so I find it frustrating to edit the content. It doesn't really work for me, so this system does work. Having the 2 cameras means that I can do cutscenes and I can gloss over all the mistakes that I make, which is many whilst I'm out riding. So it's a great versatile system. The microphone connected wirelessly, that's useful, and I've just got it at the moment. I don't know if you can see this on the rearward camera, but I think it's on this side. I've just got the mic clipped onto my helmet strap, which is probably not the best of ideas. I need to come up with a better solution than that, which I will. What you might notice is that it's got the standard lavalier mic that I have fixed into my helmet. It's just plugged into it. So that transmitter, although it has a built-in microphone, it also has a socket so that you can connect any microphone to it. And I noticed that DJI sell a lav mic that goes with this kit, so I bought one of those, and I'm going to install that in my second helmet so I don't have to wear my adventure helmet on my sports bike, because that would, it does look a bit odd. So I just need to come up with another mounting solution on the other helmet and wire that up, and then I'll be able to use that as well, and it'll be dead straightforward to switch between the two, and I love that. Something else, everything syncs up really nicely. The wireless mic syncs up nicely. If the camera switches off and the mic switches off, but they're in sync, when you start it up again, it seems to start up the microphone as well. That's what I'm noticing so far. It's just all those little touches make a huge difference. And the microphone itself records the audio onto itself. It's got like 12 gig internal storage or something like that. And so I get a WAV file of the audio on the microphone. So if for any reason the wireless connection to the camera breaks or has a fault, I still have a working copy of the audio which I can sync back up. So you get a little bit of a backup there. And when it comes to syncing up, the way I had to do it with the Hero 10 was I would start both cameras and then I would kind of do this with my fingers, and then for each clip you've got to match up the finger movement between the 2 clips, and that's how I was syncing everything, and it works. But with this solution I don't have to do that, because these cameras have a time code on them. Now time code requires a high quality clock to keep it in precision sync, and these cameras do drift from each other. But what I do is before each filming session now, I just reset them. Just reset both cameras so they're in sync with each other on the time code, hit record, and when I'm in the editing suite you can just sync the 2 clips together on time code, and it's perfect. And the wireless audio, there's a setting on the camera to make sure that's synced to the video as well. And down here on the top of my handlebar you see I've also got the Osmo remote, which you can connect to multiple cameras. So I've got both cameras connected, and I can start the recording on both cameras and stop it using the remote here. And it also records GPS data as you go, and I haven't played with that yet, but I imagine that might add some interest at some point, where I can maybe do some overlays on the screen with GPS data, perhaps with a map or something. I don't know, I need to play around with it, but it's a nice extra feature to have. I'm just really pleased with all this kit. I ummed and ahed for a long time before spending the money, because the GoPro, I like to get 3 years out of the kit really before I change it over, and I hadn't quite got that out of the GoPro, but for all of these reasons it made sense to change. Now something else as well is that you can change the file names. So I've named both of my cameras, I've put a little label on the bottom so I know which one's which, and I've matched the file names to the name of the camera, so that's nice and easy. And these cameras record everything as one file, whereas the GoPro cuts everything into 4 GB chunks. And the naming convention on GoPro is just really strange. I find it very difficult to get my head around. It doesn't jive with the way my brain works, that's for sure. And so you end up, you do the sync up with the first of the chunks, and then you've got to find all the other chunks and add them into the sync clip. It adds a whole bunch of work, and I don't have to do that with the DJI. I know that GoPro have changed some of these things on the latest cameras, and I know that there's a Bluetooth hookup as well, which hooks up to Sena helmet headsets and other things now. So GoPro are obviously working on these things, but for me, I'm just at the end of the road. I'm not ready to invest more money in GoPro kit when it's proving to be so unreliable and so frustrating for me. And I think what it is, the reason why the camera freezes is because it gets to a point where it needs a firmware update, and if you don't do the firmware update, then it'll crash for some reason. Something else that I've noticed is that it loses sync with the app, so you have to repair everything if you haven't used them for a month or two, which is just frustrating. I haven't had these for long enough to know if that's going to happen here, but I'm not convinced it will. I use the DJI app for other things, and like my Osmo, and I've got a gimbal for my SLR. Of course, I use their drone app, and I find it's all very good. I know some people don't like DJI, they don't like the idea of a Chinese company having your camera and your data and other stuff, but I don't really personally care if some corporation in China is watching me ride my motorbike. I don't think that's a big problem. Anyway, hopefully this has been helpful in some way, but if you're struggling with your solution or you're looking for a vlogging solution, I think the DJI Osmo Action 4 is a good way forward. Now the camera's prices, I'll put up on the screen if I can dig them out. You can buy a standard kit, that gets you basically the camera and a battery and the mounts. If you go for the adventure combo, which I think is what I've got, you get a selfie stick, which I've left in the box, I don't need that, and you get 2 additional batteries. So you end up with 3 batteries and a neat charging case for those 3 batteries. I actually had to buy aftermarket charging cases, got something very similar for my GoPro batteries, so that's a direct swap in for me. I'm very pleased with that. I think that's definitely worth the additional spend. Let's just pull in and let this emergency vehicle past. I think the remote was about £70, something like that, and that's about the same as the GoPro remote. I had a similar thing for that, but that doesn't have any GPS in it. I have to say I probably slightly prefer the buttons and the functions on the GoPro one, but this does the job. It's very easy to strap onto the handlebar of your bike, and you get 2 different size straps with it as well, which is quite nice. The DJI Mic 2, it's like £80-90, something like that, for just the transmitter. There are other kits available where you get the receiver as well, but obviously you don't need that because it pairs up with the camera, so you just get the transmitter on its own. It comes with a clip that's very secure, and you also get a magnet. That's quite useful, and that's probably how I'm going to mount it in my helmet. I'm going to stick a magnet in with glue, because this position that I've got it at the moment won't work if it's raining, because I don't think it's waterproof. So for now it's okay, we'll figure something else out. And the lavalier mic, the DJI lavalier mic, which I haven't tested yet, so I don't know how good that is. I'm currently using a fairly decent Rode lavalier mic in my helmet, and it costs quite a bit more than the DJI one, so I'd expect it to be better, but we'll try it and find out. DJI lav mic was £35, I think. So not the cheapest kit in the world to buy. I'm obviously buying it through business, so I've got various tax incentives, which makes it all a bit easier to swallow. I'm going to offset that against the money I get back from selling the other cameras, so the cost to upgrade was fairly minimal, but obviously I appreciate it's a fairly big outlay if you're just starting out with motorcycle vlogging. I'm just going to go for an overtake here, I think. We'll get past this one in a moment. And That's good. The camera's just told me it's got low battery, so I like that. I like the way the screens work, and it's actually a touch screen on both sides with the Osmo, and you can use either side. Very useful, good kit, very pleased with it. I'm going to put some links in the description if you want to get hold of some of this stuff. I'll find some Amazon links, and if you use those links, even if you're not buying cameras, whatever you buy on Amazon, the channel earns a small commission, which is greatly appreciated. Thanks as always for your subs, your likes, your shares. Look forward to reading your comments. I'll see you again next time. CG Rides.